Strange times, eh? This COVID, we'd normally be getting together, but like everybody else, we're locked down right now separately. So we thought, hey, let's get together over a coffee and talk about a few things in the industry and cover all the topics of the day.
Well, you know what, Ryan? I am so glad not to be just being the principal right now of the Chapel Homeschool. This is a refreshing change of pace to talk to you about what we love, corn and soybeans.
That's right. And we've got great markets right now. There's a lot of optimism out there despite COVID. So there's no shortage of things to talk about. I don't think. What's top of your mind today, Matt? What do you want to talk about over coffee?
Well, I've been spending a lot of time looking back at data from 2020, all our projects that we did. We listened to the customers, we listened to dealers, and try to design projects that give us good information on getting the best ROI from our products. So one thing we looked at last year, Ryan, was we actually looked at fungicide application on soybeans.
Now that's something I get asked a lot. Talking to farmers here in southwestern Ontario, they ask me. They say, "Snowby, what's the payback? What is your overall opinion on fungicides and soybeans?" And I have to say, some days my opinions are mixed. What are you finding, Matt?
Yeah, for a long time I was uncertain myself. A couple years ago, so the 2019 growing season, we started looking at that more closely. And I'll tell you what, my mind and my opinion has changed. Spray fungicide on your soybeans.
Why is your opinion changed, Matt?
Well, we've got some great consistent results, specifically on some varieties like 2020s. I'm just going to pop up my screen here, Ryan. I'm going to share some of the data that we've been looking at over the last bit. So we laid out a trial to look at two different populations there was 5 varieties in this test. I focused particularly on 2 varieties that were in both growing seasons in the same farm, okay? So this data, the yellow bars are fungicide applications. The blue bars are no fungicide application over the 190 and the 150,000 seed populations. So 2020s are on the left 2 sets of bars and 1888s on the right. I think you're seeing a pretty positive bump on the 2020s, especially at 190,000. We saw about like 7-8 bushel advantage over no application. So, man, there's a real case there, I think. And this is replicated within the strip and taken with yield monitor data. So that was all pulled out and verified that way.
Is it 2020s? Is it the variety and its relation to fungicide, or just the impact of the product itself?
Yeah, a couple things. I think we particularly see the big gains on both varieties at the higher population. The fungicides, you got to get good leaf coverage to really protect the plant. You had more plants, you probably have a more consistent stand in this situation in a no-till environment. So that's attributing to it. And I think that stay green, that added, ability to fill the seed out and pot fill and pot set late season, I think that's really giving it an extra little kick and taking advantage of September weather, right? Really adding to yield that way. 2020s aren't always necessarily big seed size. We got a seed size bump when you spray a fungicide in this. At $12.50 per bushel soybeans. Hopefully you're able to catch some upside potential over that price, but $12.50 as a baseline, and you got $23 to go in and spray. So, in that data, we're looking at a 5.5 bushel response from spraying fungicide in crop. That's another $46 an acre to be had. I guess I can, hop in the sprayer and go for a couple of rounds for that kind of opportunity. When you look back to 2019, Snowby, we also quantified it, right? We looked at these numbers. We didn't see as big of a bump, but we still saw a strong correlation. Break-even bushels was 2 bushels at $11 a bushel, and the average bushel response was 2.6. So $5 an acre to be had. In 2019, you're going to say, well, maybe I'm not going to do it. Margins are tight. You know, I have to really be careful and really scout and have a strong reason to go out and not apply a fungicide, which I can't deny that. But if you look at variety specific over the 2 years, we pretty consistently saw that still have a response. So I think if you look back to just tying a specific variety into it, you know, that's where you're going to say, this one gives me the most return on investment. So here's a snapshot summarizing the chart from 2019 with more of that positive ROI on a lower population in 2019. And then here's a look at the orange bars in this chart are the 2019 data over both of those core varieties with nice bumps to fungicide application. And, you know, when you look back at what we did, what we tried to achieve, this trial was more than just, you know, let's just plant strips of a couple of varieties of beans and then we're going to spray them with a fungicide. No, it was actually a deeper dive for us where we wanted to look at genetics. So specifically putting a raceseed top end bean versus a defensive variety that has some different quality characteristics and plant architecture, and then bringing in an experimental variety to quantify against, and then also a couple of competitors, particularly in 2020, and having enough swing in population in a no-till environment is about as real world as we were going to get. But we're going to continue to look at this going forward and continue to make recommendations around varieties that respond better than, and, you know, maximizing the yield potential of your soybean crop.
I appreciate you letting me know and sharing this with me today.
Well, I think my coffee's a little empty, so I'm gonna tap out for now, and we'll talk soon.
Time for a refill. I appreciate it, Matt. Thanks.